welcome everybody to the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. Our next live stand-up show is February 3rd at the Lyric Hyperion in Silver Lake. Come out to that show featuring James Adomian, April Richardson, and many more. For more information on that show, please visit us at our website, comedypopupla.com, and follow us on all social media at Comedy Pop-Up. All right, let's start the show.
Hey, what's up, party people? This is comedian Ron G, and welcome to the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. That's right, we don't small talk here, and today we have an awesome show. I have two amazing people in the studio today, man, and I hope y'all learn a lot. Normally we have two comedians, but we're taking a different path. We got a entertainment manager, and we also have one of the dopest female lawyers in the game. So, that being said, coming to the stage, my man went to Howard Law. He's an LA native. He helps students with leadership development, and he has his own firm called 5 Streams. Ladies and gentlemen, show some love for Greg Johnson. Paul, you on time with that clap today. I appreciate what you're doing. Oh, it's going to be a good day today. Hey, all right. And next up, let me tell you something. First of all, I'm flattered she made time to even be here. It's like Oprah showing up to your cookout. You're like, you know what? I appreciate what you're doing. Yo, so this young lady is a Cincinnati, Ohio native. She will tell you that at any given moment. Just look at any of her tweets. She's a legal expert for the New York Times, USA Today, and ESPN. ESPN is what old black people say. She's a panelist for the Los Angeles County Bar Association, an adjunct professor at UCLA, and teaches copyright law and entertainment for the law and entertainment industry. Ladies and gentlemen, show some love for Jaia Thomas.
Thank you.
Hey, first of all, do you get your hair done when you sleep? I feel like you lay down and some woman break into your house and do your hair and leave in the morning before you go to work.
I wish.
Your hair is like never not done. Them bangs been popping ever since I met you. Them bangs is amazing. Holding the forehead like a hand clap, like right here. You keep that hair done. Is that a part of the game too in presentation? Like being a lawyer, you gotta like always look like
presentation
look
is
like
important.
money.
I think presentation is important.
I've never not seen your hair done. Like nothing's ever been out of place. You got that Olivia Pope. Like just wake up. Like okay, it's handled.
We're ready.
It's handled.
Okay.
That is so cool, man. So listen, man, I'm grateful to have both of y'all in the studio again. This is a different vibe we having today because normally we have two comedians in here, everybody being funny, talking about their journey. But I wanted to get y'all in here, man, because like y'all are just two dope people that I met along the journey. And Greg, you and I, we actually just saw each other at the parlor, and we connected. And you said you've seen me before, but I didn't realize how many people we know. Yeah. So for you, what made you even want to be a manager, man? It's like I don't know if you know comedy, but comedy's like babysitting. Being a manager for comedians, like a lot of babysitting. You got these people with dreams and they playing in their sandbox. You're like, hey, look, you gotta get in the sandbox and do some other stuff to make yourself a productive citizen.
Facts.
And they're like, no, I need to be in the sandbox. You're like, get your butt out the sandbox, wash your face, come on now, sit down somewhere. What made you like volunteer to want to be an entertainment manager?
I think part of the game was I understood helping people.
Yeah.
From an early age, I was always tutoring somebody. So in a lot of ways, I've been a babysitter, and actually I'm an older brother of 4.
Yeah, that helped.
You know, you got used to cleaning somebody else's mess up.
Yeah.
But that mess was usually bodily fluid. You know, you had sick kids and blood, and they come in the house, and you're like,
Yeah.
I was like, can you get that? And I'm like,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So ultimately, like, it was kind of built in my DNA early on. So when it came to, you know, coming out of school and helping kids on the education front, whether it be leadership development, et cetera,
Yeah.
I had people along the way asking me to manage them, and I didn't know what that meant.
Oh man.
I was like, what are you talking about? I've been a manager, but what do you mean? They were like, nah, I need somebody to like help me and guide me and make sure that, you know, they put a plan together, help me get to my goals and blah, 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 because I just want to be creative.
They hand you a mixtape like, hey, listen, Skinny, man.
Facts.
If you listen to my mixtape, wouldn't even have no words for you, man.
I was lucky enough to not have to deal with too many of those. It was all people who already knew. So, you know, when you already know their character, you know what they're about, and they're like, look, I need you to help me because I know your skill set, and you don't even see it yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, whatever. And I said no for a long time. I said no for almost 5 years, from 2010. I had a fellowship at CAA.
Yeah.
I've seen how they were doing it, but I wasn't.
Tell people what a fellowship is, because in my head, it's something you do at church. I don't know what a fellowship is in the corporate setting. What is a fellowship?
So a fellowship is slightly different than an internship.
Okay.
Mine
you get paid for it?
I did. I got a stipend for it, so that was helpful.
Now, tell us what a stipend is. For those who are in the entertainment industry have no clue what a stipend is or a fellowship is. Please tell us what a stipend
Absolutely. So a stipend was a small chunk of money they gave you to live for the summer.
Okay.
They were like, look, you live in LA, you're used to it, but we don't have much money. I think it was like $600-700 a week. And
to
I was
live
like,
for the summer. That sounds like slavery or something.
basically, it's an internship, but they're like,
For the summer.
with a new name. Yeah, they call it with a new name and say, look, this is project based. So you're not just out here doing
A bag
random
of
stuff.
rice,
This is
some
what
water.
you got to do.
It's your stipend. All right.
Absolutely. So
Dope.
I was in this fellowship where I didn't have the same restrictions as some of the interns at CAA.
Yeah.
So I got to meet with a lot of the big wigs in and out of the community and entertainment and philanthropy. And I got to leave the office whenever I wanted to, which I didn't know was a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, I've been running my own stuff for a minute. But I didn't know that the assistants had to sit at their desks and only leave between 1 and 2.
Oh, man.
So when they saw me leaving whenever I wanted, they were like, who the hell is this guy? But essentially, I got to see how representation looked from that, you know, from that very close level, in the sense that I had some of the biggest agents, like literally 2 doors down from me.
Yeah.
I just got to have lunch with them and was like, oh, this is what you guys do? Oh, I could do this if I really wanted to.
Right.
But as people were telling me, like, yo, Greg, manage me, one of them was one of the artists I currently work with. He goes by the name of Super Good. And he had written for Usher and Pussycat Dolls and Genuine and had won like ASCAP awards.
Did he write Don't You?
He did not write Don't You.
Okay.
He wrote Never, though. A lot of people know Never.
Yeah.
He was Never. He wrote Never.
You just see a dude in the studio like writing Don't You?
And
he's brilliant.
he was like, yo, manage me. And I was like, no, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
And I said no to a couple other artists for a couple years. And then in 2015, one of them wrote me a check, was like, look, you keep playing, start your company, and keep your day job, and just help us out on the side.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, I had like a half a dozen clients, had left my job, and was doing it full time.
Yeah, that's so cool. And Jaia, feel free to chime in at any time. But one thing I admire about you might not even know this, but I like the fact that when I look at your Twitter, you're always trying to help some other people.
Facts.
Like you're always posting something like, hey, they have some openings for this. Hey, they hiring at Denny's. Hey, they looking for lawyers. You know what I'm saying? Like she's just such a dope person and very giving. And I noticed the people in LA that give the most normally get the most. I even know older comedians that like take young cats on the road with them. They normally always work. But the cats that's selfish, like I'm gonna get mine and go on tour and I'll pick up a feature on the way. Like they get forgot about. But one thing I really admire about you is that you always give. Like what made you like want to do entertainment law? Because that's a very specific thing. And you know, you're dealing with a lot of broke people with a lot of needs.
Used to.
And you're signing up for it.
Yes.
Okay.
So actually, I always wanted to be a lawyer. Since I was
see that.
young. Yeah, so that was always kind of my trajectory. I always knew I wanted to be a lawyer even when I was like in junior high school.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to be an entertainment lawyer. I actually wanted to be a civil rights lawyer.
Oh, man.
And fight for my people. So
Excuse me?
That was the initial
Can we press the
plan.
button on that? You got a button for that? There you go, Paul. Is it one button a show? Is that what we doing? We on a budget? Jesus, Paul.
A
All right,
button
cool.
budget. So I initially wanted to be a civil rights lawyer. That's why I went to law school. Went to law school in D.C. And
girl.
Thank you. Changed paths like my second year of law school. I got an internship working for NBC, and I just really liked it. I was like, this is fun. I get to go out on shoots. I get to move around because I don't really like sitting at a desk all day.
Of course.
So entertainment law, got me out and meeting people, and I really liked that aspect of it. And also, I noticed that as Black folks, a lot of us are on screen, we're on stage, but not enough of us are making the decisions, are doing the
Right.
deals, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so that's when I started to realize there should be more of us kind of behind the scenes closing these deals,
Yeah.
and doing these contracts on behalf of all of us.
Man, I get jealous sometimes when I hear about entertainers. They're like, man, they don't even have an agent. They just have a lawyer. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? That's a thing? I don't have to give that 10 up, that hot 10% to an agent and a man. I could just have a lawyer. Oh, God, it's so good. Man, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I ain't going to say it on air, but let me tell you something.
Hey, I
When the
hire
spirit
too.
moves. Oh, my goodness. Oh, bro, just an accountant.
That's it?
You can do business in your drawers, and you ain't got to wait on
Paperwork
your
is
check
right.
to come from somebody else. Let me tell you something. The hardest part about entertainer is doing the job, and you ain't got your check yet. Like your money's en route. You know what I'm saying? Now you look at you're a manager. You look at the check before I do,
Facts. I have to.
and then the agency cut the check to you, and you cut it to me.
Yep.
And I ain't broke. I just ain't got it. Ain't nothing worse than having money en route. And bills are due.
That's real.
Let me tell you something. And you can cut the check and make the deal, and I can go to your office and pick my man. Let me tell you something, Jaia. You are necessary.
Direct deposit too.
That is, oh man,
You didn't even got to come
that
in
is
for
awesome. Venmo me. Let's
Cash
make it
out all of
happen.
it. Yep.
In my drawers. Wake up and like, oh, I got a notice.
Here it is.
That's
right
so
here.
cool. So what made you want to be? I know you said you mentioned you want to be a civil rights lawyer. There's something, because what I learned too, especially sometimes in your childhood, you do stuff and you expose to stuff, and you never know how it's going to affect you as an adult. Like when I was little, my mama used to, on Friday nights, we clean up the house and we would watch Def Jam. I would sit on the edge of her bed and watch Def Jam, but I never knew that would affect my life.
How old were you?
Huh?
How old were you?
I was a kid. I don't know. It was just what we did.
Woo.
Yeah. So watch Def Jam, and I remember my dad would come home drunk, making a lot of noise, and we would run in the room and act like we would sleep. But I remember Def Jam literally changed my life because my mom exposed me to it. Did your parents, either one of your parents, expose you to stuff as a kid that now affects you as an adult and makes you like want to do what you want to do? What make you want to do what you do now?
Yeah, so I think two things for me. I think
You watched a civil rights movie or something. You was like, you know what? That's me.
that's what I'm gonna do. So actually, and I know you mentioned it already about me being from Cincinnati, but actually that had a huge impact on me wanting to be a civil rights lawyer. Cincinnati is a very racially charged city. It's a city that's about 48% black, but the economic disparities between whites and blacks is huge. It's one of the worst cities in the country.
That's not just Cincinnati.
True. It's everywhere, but it's definitely one of the worst cities in the United States in terms of the economic disparities between black folks and white folks.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had the riots a couple years,
Paul, are we comfortable with this conversation? We good?
Oh,
Okay, cool. Just making sure. All right. We're like comfortable. Yeah. Paul's Mexican, by the way, but just want to make sure you're comfortable because it's about to get real black right now.
Okay,
You feel?
sorry, my bad.
It's about to get extra
I'm
black.
sorry.
Pass me the watermelon. Go ahead, Jaia.
All right. So yeah, that was one of the things for me. I just wanted to help make things better growing up. Just seeing how far behind we still were. I just wanted to do something to help make things
That was a
better
little juicy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
for us. So that was one thing, just kind of the environment I grew up in. And then the other thing also, my dad owned radio stations
Oh man,
growing
so
up.
cool. Yeah.
And they were all black radio stations, you know, Motown music. But they did a lot to give back to the community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just growing up and seeing that and inspired me as well.
That is so cool. And then one thing I know is about both you guys volunteer with young people, helping them in their journey. What did y'all have that type of mentorship growing up, or is it just something that was in your heart? Like, when I get on, I'm gonna help these kids out and figure that thing out.
I saw mine early on. I was a kid in school who like did everything. And one of the things I got exposed to early was like summer programs and after school programs of that nature.
Yeah.
And I just saw these people who looked like me coming back to my schools. You know, I went to Crenshaw High School. And saw people coming into the school saying like, "Hey, you guys can do this too."
Yeah.
So the combination of that and my mom.
Did you believe it then? Because sometimes
I did.
These grown folk come to your school.
No,
You're like, man, get out of here.
I got brainwashed early. My mom told me at 12. She said, "Look, I won some scholarship that was like statewide," and she was like, "Look, you got to keep doing this because there is no trust fund set up." And I was like, "What's a trust fund?" And she was like, "Exactly."
There you go.
And from 12 on, it was like, you know, not if I was going to college. It was just more of a where I was going to college and what I was going to do with that information. So when I got on and was at UCLA, my job was literally to help kids get into college.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they wanted to go to Harvard, Stanford, wherever they wanted to go, I helped them. And I got to see that impact. And then, you know, through the years when I went to, you know, came back from law school, the whole nine, I was running into those students like in the city, like in the mall, in Best Buy. And they were like, "Yo, you remember me?" And I was like, nah. What's up? They were like, "No, like you helped me get into school. You did this and that." So I laughed at like, I got a lot of people in the city that like if something went down, like I may have some people coming into the woodworks to help that I won't remember now.
Yeah.
But I saw that, you know, if I didn't give that information back, somebody else would. And it's different when they look like you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually had a chance to do a TED Talk, man. And what I realized, I feel like it's my responsibility.
Congratulations, by
Thank
the
you
way.
so much. I
That's
appreciate
huge.
it. If you're listening, it's Ron G TEDx. Just Google Ron G TEDx. And I basically did it on making your weirdo work for you. Because all the stuff that made me a weird little kid now makes me money.
Nice.
And when growing up, I never knew what it was for. I was like, how come every time I see somebody talk, I can do their exact same voice or their mannerisms, or like I notice small details where, you know, even when I was a kid, like I used to get picked at because I had a big head and I was a little tiny kid, but I would use the person's voice that was joning on me or clowning on them, and everybody started laughing at them, but I'm using their voice. Like just little dumb stuff, you know what I'm saying? But for me, I felt like I had an obligation because I grew up in a town where you don't really dream. Like dreams are not a thing. Like you go to school, you get a job, you make babies, you retire, and you die. That's what you do. You know what I'm saying? But I felt like I had a personal responsibility to these babies and these kids. Like, yo, I do what I love. I was the kid that made it out the hood. You know what I'm saying? I live on the good street. That good street went over. But I made it out the hood, and I make a living doing what I love. And I didn't even know it was a thing. Like nobody around me dreamed. Nobody had their own business. And I don't know. I think it was. I made it my mission to always do that. So I call myself Career Day King because I always do career days.
Nice.
And I don't speak at the kids. I talk to them and tell them like, yo, you can do what I do. Because everybody knows somebody like me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Did y'all have a some type of moment where you like, I feel this obligation to give back to these kids? Because again, like you post a lot of stuff about internships and fellowships and cool stuff like that. And I think it's so dope that you do that. Like, have you always been like that, or you just feel like there's a personal obligation, or somebody did that to you and you want to give back?
Yeah, I can't necessarily pinpoint anyone who did it for me. It's just kind of always been inside of me to want to give back, you know, especially for young kids of color and just young people of color.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard enough.
Paul, you cool with this part?
Sorry.
You good? Okay,
Are we
cool.
here?
No,
Just
I'm
let me know,
playing.
just raise your hand.
I'm just raise your hand if you're uncomfortable anytime. It's getting extra black in here with Jaia Thomas. I'm sorry. People of color, civil rights, dropping all these extra black words. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Pay me no mind.
I mean, it's just already hard enough. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yes.
Being a person of color in this country. So anything I can do
Yeah.
to help lighten that load and make things easier,
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And one thing I noticed about both of you guys, too, is like, y'all are both overachievers. And when y'all go out and just hang out with regular people, y'all look like y'all supervising almost. When I saw Greg at the parlor, he looked like a chaperone. I'm like, bro, what you smile or something? You know what I'm saying? But we actually had a great conversation. We had a great conversation. And I know for me, I don't small talk. So him and I literally talk the whole time. Like, I love my
wow.
comedian friends, but I'm like, I'd rather have some real good conversation with some good people. And I feel like we built a friendship. And with you, Jaia, I see you too. Like, when I see you hanging out, I just feel like you sitting here surveying the place like, yeah, I think there's some mold, some mildew. We can sue. We can sue. On behalf of my people, we can sue and get our money back for this and own our own establishments. Like, so are y'all... I feel like y'all both are guilty of like not having fun. Do y'all make sure y'all live and have fun too?
Oh, I have a ball.
And don't oversell me now, because I know sometimes I have a good time. Like, what you like to do? I don't know, but I have a good time.
Well, Ryan, you've been to an event or two that I throw, me and my team. So
What's your team? What's your event?
the Social Collective LA, we do,
The brunches.
we got Turn Up Brunch LA, we have
You know about a turn up brunch, Jaia Thomas.
social therapy. We have a couple different things, but we were looking for a space to have the type of events we like to have fun at. You know,
Yeah.
no drama, no BS.
Yeah.
We're not trying to break everybody's pockets. We're trying to
Yeah.
be fiscally responsible. But we want you
That's the Rob T events, right?
Absolutely.
Shout out to Rob T, man. What's up, bro?
That's one of my business
Oh,
partners.
Southern boy, yeah.
Yeah. So, we definitely find our spaces to have fun, but you're not going to catch me out in nobody's club, you
Yeah.
know, 4 or 5 nights a week. Not
I'll tell you
happening.
something, Greg, take them glasses off, it's gonna be a problem. You hear me? If you take them glasses off and clean them real quick, like, hold my glasses.
Oh, I stay with the
They about to
cloth
give
on
him the
me.
dance floor. Is Greg Millie rocking? Get his glasses, y'all. Somebody manage it. And it was good to see you out too. Actually, the last time we saw each other was at a relationship panel hosted by myself and Yvonne Orji. Shout out to Yvonne Orji, Insecure. So proud of that girl living her best life, the life God intended. But it was really cool to see you, man. Like, do you get a chance to catch those events, or you only went to see if you can like create another event that's similar and start a movement, or you really went to get some information and have a good time, let your hair down?
No, actually, someone invited me to that event, so that's
Yeah.
why I went. But I have a great time out here. I'm not from LA. I didn't know anyone when I moved to LA.
Yeah.
And it took a long time to like find good friends, but now I have a really good circle of friends
I'm
out
so
here.
jealous of you.
So I'm
still trying to find my tribe. Greg is a new
It takes
member.
a while. It takes a
Greg
while.
is my new member of my tribe. We're
It
trying to
takes
figure
a
that thing
while.
out. Yeah.
How long have you been out here?
I moved out here in 05.
Okay.
So for me, it's different because in the South, it's easy to make
Everybody.
friends. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
It's just different. Like, back home, matter of fact, when Greg, we
Yeah.
met each other with the same conversation. I was telling this girl, I said, back home, I had friends where you go over their house and do nothing and have a good time.
Yeah, yeah.
But LA is so different. I don't have go over your house, do nothing friends. You know, back home, I go to my best friend's house, you know, we chill, kick it. You know, he's a DJ, so he'll DJ and we just dance around the house playing with his kids and having a good time. But like out here, it's all event driven. Any agent's gonna be there, any hoe's gonna be there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Somebody's
all
looking for something.
Yeah, event driven, which kind of sucks. You know what I'm saying? But him and I connected on that level, and I was very grateful for that. So how'd you wind up finding your tribe being so busy? Because I know a byproduct of being so busy is you don't always have friends. Your friends stop calling because they're like, man, you ain't never around. You ain't never in town. Like, how did you find your tribe being as busy as you are?
Some of it was through mutual friends.
Mm-hmm.
So when I moved out here, some of my friends in New York knew people out here and like connected me to those people. And some just out at events, some in my building where I live,
Yeah.
which I won't say the neighborhood or
Okay.
anything. But yeah, so kind of it's been a hodgepodge of a lot of different things.
You saw that civil rights and hodgepodge in the same conversation. Who out here living her
Bring
life?
out all the words.
Hodgepodge. She got black friends and white friends. Go ahead. Hodgepodge. Fellowship. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Pay me no, never mind.
It was hard at first because I definitely feel like it's hard meeting people, quality people. solid people
Yeah.
in Los Angeles. So it took a while, but yeah, it was a hodgepodge of different things, but I have some really good friends now.
Awesome. So another thing I've noticed too, especially with people like lawyers and managers, they have a hard time turning that thing off. I've dated a lawyer and I felt like I was in a court case
Oh,
during
wait
a
a minute.
conversation.
Yep.
You about to put my business out right now?
A little bit.
Okay.
Because I do remember you saying what, like lawyers are the worst people to date.
I didn't say
I
that.
may be misquoting or something
No,
along
I said
those lines.
therapists.
Okay. Maybe.
I didn't say lawyers. Lawyers are fine.
I'm married to one.
Yeah. Lawyers?
We're
I like it.
amazing.
Yeah. Lawyers are awesome. Like as long as they have that other side too. Where they're a servant and a lawyer versus like just a lawyer all the time, that's a problem. But no, I said therapist. Therapist is a little
Okay,
different.
maybe that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see.
Okay. I'm glad we're bringing this up today.
She about to put me on the spot.
She's about to impeach you.
She gonna shine
That's
a
another
light
word,
on my
impeach.
dirty laundry.
She was about to impeach you.
on
This
my
has turned
own
into a
show.
deposition.
This is what we doing. Yeah.
Okay. Just kidding.
You know you done effed up, right? You know you. I plead the fourth, the seventh. Which one is it? I plead one of them.
Yeah.
But dope, man. So, but you don't have a problem with turning it off? Because I know that's always a thing. Like you're such a boss, even though you're smiling and got your hair done and your eyebrows all manicured. I feel like you still have this other side that people don't see it when it's time. Like they see it when it's necessary. Like you have a hard time turning it off.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you manage that? Because I'm a comedian. I'm like, I don't want to be on all the time too. Because I'm actually more serious when I'm not performing. Yeah. Because
I
when
can't
I'm
even
out,
see that.
absolutely. When I'm out, I have to be on. Like I don't have the
Right.
luxury of like having a bad day. People are like, what's wrong with you? You a comedian feeling down? You broken? What's going on with you? You know what I'm saying? But like when I'm not performing, I enjoy just talking and because I'm comedians. We live in our head. You know what I'm saying? But I know I have to have layers in order to survive. Because if I don't, then being one tone, you'll crash.
Right.
Because you're neglecting a certain emotional thing, like even having blind spots. So I like living and breathing and having fun and feeling stuff, which I didn't always do that because I thought my career was the only thing. And then, life caught up with me. And I was like, I had a small meltdown on stage, like, yo, I need to start living.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? And then you don't have nothing to talk about because your whole set is about being at the comedy club. I'm like, that's not cool. You know what I'm saying? So, what do y'all do to actually unplug and like let your hair down and like breathe? Do you have any like crazy hobbies or habits that you do? See, because we work all the time. That's what we do.
No, so
That's that face y'all making.
no, I like TV. Obviously,
Yeah?
part of it, I have to watch a lot of TV.
What's
so-
your show?
Ooh, right now, what am I watching? I'm actually watching Frasier right now, which sounds
Frasier?
weird. No, seriously.
No,
So,
Frasier's a good show.
Frasier's a great
I didn't
show.
watch it, but I know a lot of people that's
I
like
didn't watch it.
love it.
Like I started watching it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I've watched a lot of Netflix.
Tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
Ozark,
Ozark is awesome.
it was great. I was like, well, he's directing this too. Like it's
Yeah.
one of those things to where I watch a lot of TV, but I also watch TV like when everybody's asleep.
Yeah.
Um,
Get them stripper hours like me.
Facts. Like
Yeah.
when the wife goes to bed around 11, like
Yeah.
I'm up to like 3 working, and while I'm working, the TV's on.
TV's on.
I don't know
TV's
how
on.
people do that. I can't do that. I can't watch TV and do work.
Yeah.
Well, I'm auditory.
Yeah, I got to be focused. I can't.
I feel like you like be at your computer by candlelight. Everything on. Guess what? 94.7 The Way.
Wait, guys, I like that station.
I know you.
It's amazing. It's
That's
amazing.
hilarious. Are
I
you
grew up
old
on
people, baby? Wait a second. Are your parents severely old? Like you got.
Severely old.
Yeah, you
My
got.
dad's turning 70 in 2 months. So, yeah, they're older.
It's almost
Yeah. He had me when he was 50, so.
You know,
Yeah.
I love the
And
wave.
you 8, you know what I mean? Cornbread. Like, wait a second. You're an 8-year-old. Yeah, we're doing brunch today. You're an 8-year-old doing brunch? How old are your parents?
60.
That's so cool,
They
man.
got married
Good
late.
stuff. So, have you seen Punisher?
I have
On
seen
Netflix?
the first episode.
Yeah.
I had to stop
freaking
for a
awesome.
second because that one's too. It's 40 minutes, 45 minutes, or whatever it is. So depending on the hour, I'm like, I need short, quick. So like
get to
comedians
the
in cars, Seinfeld.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I've watched like 19 episodes of that in like 2 days.
Of course, yeah.
But the shorter stuff I watch at night because it just lets my mind go free. I don't have to think about anything.
Absolutely, yeah. That's my candy too. I really enjoy watching movies and TV, and I got this thing for Kung Fu right now. I did the show for CNN called United Shades of America, which we won an Emmy.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And I met Bruce Lee's daughter, and talking to her was like the most profound, amazing thing. You can feel the weight of when you're a descendant of greatness, like the pressure that's on your shoulders to be great too. And I was like, I really like her. So I've been watching a bunch of kung fu flicks. So I seen this. If you ever on Netflix and you see this movie called Ip Man, it's pretty dope. IP Man, it's freaking incredible. What about you? What's your candy? What's your thing?
So
What do
I
you like
don't
to do?
watch that much TV. I only try to watch maybe like no more than an hour of TV a day or 2 hours max.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
because
that
I just feel like
strict?
A little bit, because I feel like it can be a time waster.
So if you watch the
No
Super Bowl
shade.
at halftime, you like, I got to go, guys. Got work to do.
The exception is sports.
Okay.
Because I'm a huge sports fan, but
And who's your team?
I'm from Ohio, Cleveland
If you press
Cavaliers.
boot, if you press boot,
You know
no.
what?
No,
See,
I'm
let
actually a
me-
LeBron fan. I
Okay.
don't like Cleveland. First of all, y'all burnt his jersey. His coworker slept with his mama and he left, and y'all got mad at him.
Can I ask a question though?
Let me tell you something.
Can I ask a
And
question?
Dan
If I
Gilbert?
worked at Target and
Can I
my
ask-
coworker slept with my mama, I'm at Walmart on Tuesday. You
Can
hear
I
me?
ask a question?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
What team is in your state? What?
I like the Falcons.
See, okay, so as I was saying,
Yeah. Okay. All right.
you know,
But you
people
don't live
come
there
for
now. You left.
Cleveland. True, but
Yeah.
I rep
Right. Who's your college team?
Ohio State. I'm Ohio everything.
Okay. And y'all were high like in the 80s? The 80s? I think the 80s,
Okay,
70s?
So we're gonna do that today.
There you go. You know what, Paul? He is on it right now. Yeah. Close your mouth.
Is that what we're
Relax
doing
your
today?
eyebrows. We having a show here.
I didn't come here for this. So yeah, I don't really watch that much TV, maybe like an hour a day max. But I go out with my friends. We hang out, we go out.
Is there a thing, or y'all like doing karaoke? Like, what's the thing?
Yeah, karaoke. I did that for my birthday. Actually, got a bunch of friends together for karaoke.
Yeah.
We go to film screenings. We go out to eat. We eat a lot. And one thing I started to do in 2018 is every week I'm doing something I've never done before. So that's like my challenge in 2018.
Man, let me tell you something.
Doing something
I just
new
told
every
somebody
week.
that. I just told somebody that. I was
Get
like,
out of here.
you got to learn how to try something new every day. As a comedian, I don't have the luxury of not feeling, living, and breathing, because ain't nothing worse than seeing a comedian who was hot in the 90s and they doing the exact same set.
Same set.
So I try to live. That's why I said I had to make sure I made time to live. And I try one new thing a day. I'll try food I never tried, try a different route to work. I'll try a restaurant. I'm like, yo, I'm going to just be random and go here. You know what I'm
Good.
saying? And just to keep myself fresh and even emotionally, like doing what we do, it requires a lot from people like us, because you kind of got to compartmentalize your life. Like, I'm a comedian, but I don't want to be on all the time. So
Yeah.
I've traveled the world. I've done cool things. And to be with somebody who doesn't try new things, it's like a weird thing. Like my dad don't do nothing new. My dad would take a week off work and sit home and drink with his buddies, which is something he would do when he was, working. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
seeing the dynamic of my mom, she's traveling now. She got a little passport. You know what I'm saying? She thinks she living her best life. She be dressing like Cookie from Empire. You know what I'm saying? Wearing some cheetah print something. But seeing my mom who likes to travel and seeing my dad who, like, I'm sitting here and this is what I'm doing. And that dynamic, when you get older, it's like you have moments in your life and things of your life you can't share with your person. And I don't want to do that, because we all live very extreme lives. And even on our worst day, we live in better lives than any of our friends. You know what I'm saying? So how do y'all stay fresh and stay open and always, like, how do you push yourself to another level? Because again, we can all get stagnant and be like, I'm just a lawyer that just does this. But because of what you do and your exposure and your community, you're going to be exposed to a whole bunch of other stuff you wouldn't normally think you would do. You know what I'm saying? How do you push yourself and always stay fresh and relevant?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I say yes more often. I used to be the know-it-all, oh, what restaurant? I have one. Oh, what spot should we go to? I can say that. What should we do next? I have
Yeah.
something in my mind. So what I did was just tone that down
Yeah.
and let other suggestions come to the forefront. And, part of that became, my wife is vegan, and
Oh,
she was
man.
like, hey, let's try this new restaurant, and wouldn't tell me it was vegan.
Yeah?
And we get there and I eat. I'm like, oh, that was good. And she was like, yeah, it's a vegan restaurant. I'm like, okay. But it was good. So it was one of those things to
So you're
where,
just saying yes and trying
just saying yes
That's
and
really
trying
cool.
Because ultimately, like, it allows me to expand just what I would normally do myself, because I have my favorites. We all have
Yeah.
our favorites. And
Yeah.
when you're dealing with someone else's favorites and you have to compromise in those ways, works with friends, family, etc. It just allows you to kind of open your mind, expand your horizons, and really
Yeah.
just do something new. So you get those new emotions. You get that.
That's very
feeling
grown
of
man of
fresh
you, sir.
again.
That's very grown man of you, because women love a story on Monday when they go to work. Like, oh my God, me and my husband went to the best. And if you'd have said no, you shut her down. She ain't got no story.
Oh, man.
Because all her homegirls got stories, and your wife ain't got a story. And then you like a terrible husband because you don't let your wife have a
Look
story.
horrible.
Man, let me tell you
Can't
something.
have that.
Yeah. And what about you, young lady? You try one new thing a week, and what else do you do? to
Yeah,
push
so
yourself?
that's what I'm doing 2018, trying one new thing every week. But I also try to get out of LA a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like being here can definitely be a bubble. So I try to get out as often as possible
Yeah.
and see what's going on in other cities and other places and, travel a lot.
Yeah. So another. Go ahead. You were gonna say something?
I was going to ask her, what is your one thing for this week?
I haven't decided yet.
Sprite.
Ah.
I feel like you only drink alkaline water.
I try not to even drink pop, but
What?
I
Calls it
don't
pop.
pop.
What is that?
Sprite is pop. Coke is pop.
Okay, so civil rights. What's the word? Was it hodgepodge?
Hodgepodge.
And pop. Okay, all right. We living.
That's what it is.
Add that to the vocab. So also I've noticed too, especially in what we do, because honestly, I started doing comedy when you did a late night performance. Your life would kind of change. If you did a last comic standing or a late night performance, your career could change. Now we got this whole thing of social media. And how do you balance the importance of being on social media, knowing what's going on, and like having a personal life? Because for me, I've always struggled with that as an entertainer. Like as a comedian, I don't have the luxury of like not being on social media for like 5 days. Like I would love to like be off the grid completely and get me a flip phone. But because I'm a comedian, I hate performing somewhere, something happened in the room and I not know what's going on because I'm not on social media. How do y'all balance social media and being informed and living a regular life?
I use different platforms for different reasons, and also when I look at them. So when I wake up, I'll get on Twitter, and usually I catch a lot of my news because a lot of my followers and friends are lawyers and people who are into politics and different things. So I get a lot of that, and comedians for that matter. I get a lot of that from Twitter.
Yeah.
And then Instagram is kind of like the go-to when you literally have nothing else to do and you want to turn your brain off.
You in the club and can't find your friends.
Exactly. I'm on Instagram. Let's look at some pictures real quick. And then I put the phone away. So part of it is like I have to separate the two out. So, if we're sitting up doing something, I'll take the phone and literally toss it across the room so that I don't hear that little vibration and don't have to feel like I have to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the exact same thing. I primarily use Twitter to connect with people. It's actually a really great tool to connect with folks.
Absolutely.
And also to just learn about what's going on in the industry. Twitter is one of the best social media platforms for sports and entertainment. So that's what I use Twitter for. And Instagram, pretty much the same thing Greg said.
I learned something from Jaia today on Twitter, though. The UCLA Memes Conference is coming up on February 2nd.
What is that?
It's a sports and entertainment conference.
You said UCLA Memes?
Yeah, it's media, entertainment. I forget the other M and the E, but it's an acronym for something that's a lot bigger about all the different entities in entertainment and media. But they do a conference every year at UCLA Anderson. They bring out some of the best speakers in the world, and I always forget about it. And luckily, Jai's on my feed, so I saw it today, and probably going to register later tonight.
Yep.
Thank you.
Go ahead and add your handle on that. I don't know if I'm following you on Instagram, by the way. And then, so what advice would you give these young entertainers you represent as far as social media? Because everybody's like, you got to get your numbers up, but they don't tell you how. And then you struggle trying to, you know what? I appreciate you, Paul. It was a photo object. That's why I got weird just now. People always tell you got to get your numbers up, but they don't tell you how. And people are doing some of the most ridiculous stuff to get their numbers up. What would you tell a young entertainer to get your numbers up without, well, I guess people don't, like, I hate this word brand. I feel like that changed everything. This is imaginary word that somebody created to make a whole nother institution in entertainment to stress out entertainers and make money off people. So how do you help entertainers navigate through that? Because some people, like for me, I like doing stuff that has heart to it. I don't like mean-spirited videos where a girl getting punched in the throat and somebody being ghetto. I like either heartfelt, funny, or witty stuff. And some people do whatever to get their numbers up. And you have a lot of people who don't know Hollywood protocol and do a bunch of crazy stuff just to get their numbers up. And they have 1 million followers. And you have the other person who's actually talented, who's trying to find their way. What advice would you give them to stay relevant or create content on Instagram?
Be yourself. Luckily, I work with clients who, I actually believe in who they are as people, which helps a lot, where I'm never watching something they do and I'm like, oh.
That is so cool to tell somebody, I believe in you as a person.
Right. It's like, I never have to look at my phone, and I get notifications for all my clients. So when something goes up, I can look at it quickly, but I'm never like, hey, you got to take that down because this isn't who you are.
Yeah.
So being themselves really helps. So I got a client who, gives advice based on, past relationships. I got a comedian who, is just naturally a storyteller, and I let them be them. And because they're great people, it ends up being great content, and people follow them because of it. So part of it is, knowing your client, knowing the team, and just really keeping them in their box and not trying to do what everybody else does.
Yeah. Do you ever have to pull somebody off the ledge, like, hey, you doing too much on social media? You ever had to do that yet?
I've had to, yes.
Yeah?
It was
you
more,
pop their hand, or you like, hey.
It was more of like, hey,
give me the phone. Put the phone down now.
I don't know if you know about how this looks. You see it in one way as a storyteller, but I'm like, from the outside, this is how it comes off. And they were like, wait, I didn't even think of it that way. And it's more like an edit versus like, hey, take it down. And they see it and they read it and they're like, oh, wait, I didn't even catch the double entendre.
Like a whore. That's not good.
So little stuff like that, but it's never anything big. Small stuff.
Yeah, what about you?
I would say, so one of my clients, I work with a lot of people who are big on social media. One of my clients has like 2 million followers on Instagram. And one thing I would say is engage with your followers. A lot of times people will post things and, their followers will comment or ask questions and they ignore those comments and they ignore those questions. And so one of the biggest ways is to, engage with your followers and then they can tell other people about you and, it can kind of spread. And the other thing I would say is be consistent, be consistent about posting stuff. If you're inconsistent, if you post something on Monday, then you don't post anything again until April. It's hard to really build your follower account. So I would say be consistent, engage with your followers, and post something that's like actually interesting or funny or helpful or,
Absolutely. For me, I had a brain fart. I'm sorry. So I was laughing at this meme I posted yesterday. If you can get a chance, go to comedian Ron G. It's pretty hilarious. Hold on a second, I can find it. And actually got a lot of comments on it too. This dude was like, how do you know if you got pneumonia? But he spelled new, N-E-W, moan, M-O-A-N, and yeah. Like pneumonia. And she was like, you moan when you have sex?
Oh, I see.
I saw that one.
She was like, you have sex? He's like, no, what grandma died from? Pneumonia. And I was like, that is hilarious. And I got so many comments off that.
Wow, you had 112. That's huge.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. And I was like,
and 803 likes. That's a lot.
That's
Look at you.
dope. But I'm learning. Because for me, I used to shoot a lot of videos, and over time having a girl in my life, and you seeing women with their cleavage out, and they literally come to show their booty and their cleavage, and trying to explain that to somebody you care about. It's tiring. So I'd rather not have that conversation.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just repost videos until I figure out what I'm going to do. That's my own specific niche because, again, just sitting there and it takes you about 5 hours to edit a video. It just takes so much time, man. But some people have that kind of time, and I don't necessarily have time to do it. Dope, man. So I'm sure y'all have a lot of people run up to y'all like, hey, man, manage me, put me on. Is there any advice for somebody who would want to be a manager or a lawyer? That stuff that somebody didn't tell you that you wish you knew before now?
I got a lesson early. And one of my guys, he works for Oprah's channel. He called it a champagne problem. And I got fired before I really got started with a client. And what it was that another teammate came by and was like, look, this is who we are, this is what we do. And he got snatched up literally a week into us working together. Yeah. And at first you're like, my feelings were hurt. I, never failed in that type of, situation before. And he was like, no, it's like a coach in the NBA or NFL. You're going to get fired. And the sooner I realized that sometimes it's not what you do or, who you are, and that sometimes it's just not going to align at the same time as the client's goals and wishes, it made things easier. And it was like, oh, all right, cool. This is part of the game. You're going to get fired. So you do all you can to help them in the meantime. And if you guys do end up parting ways, it probably wasn't your fault.
Yeah. Isn't it tough, though, to invest all this time and stuff into people and then, knowing they'll leave at any given second? Because both of y'all have those very fragile type relationships. Yo, I need you. Can you help me? Please, I need to get this done. And when you get it done, they're like, all right, I'm cool. And you don't hear nothing else. You wait. You pursued me.
And then ghosted me.
Yeah, and ghosted me. Treat me like street booty.
Right.
Left $1 on the bed. I deserve better.
Well, that's one way to put it.
Yeah, how did you... How do y'all navigate through relationships like this? It's almost like being a pastor. You saw all this time into people's lives, and then they're like, I don't like you, pastor. You over there speaking the truth, making me deal with myself. I don't like that. I'm going to another church that doesn't tell me the truth, and I'm going to be all right.
I think of it like a family member. You know, there's family that you don't see, best friends you don't see for years, but you knew while you were together, you were giving them the best that you had. Yeah. And that ultimately, you hope it helps. And if they find it somewhere else and it's better, great. If they don't and they come back to you, it's like, hey, it's all love. But part of it is just recognizing that you're there for that moment in that time for that reason, and not thinking much past that.
And one thing that I wish people had told me when I started out is to be selective with clients. So that's what I am now. When I first started, I would just take everyone. Yeah. Trying
to get your weight up. Yeah.
Exactly. And now I'm like, ooh, no.
What's your filter?
A lot of things. The first thing is, can you pay? So that's one filter.
What if they can pay, but their breath is terrible? They got that, how you doing?
I think that's fixable.
Yeah?
I think that may be fixable.
Breath?
Possibly.
With money? Meaning you have money to fix it, but you're not responsible enough. You got WhatsApp?
So number one, can they pay? Number two, I'm really big on personality.
Yeah.
Like, I like to work with people who are easy to work with. I don't do divas and drama and all of that stuff. So if I even feel like you may be difficult to work with, I'm good, because I just don't have time for like the extra headaches and the, extra drama. So those are the two big factors for me. Are you easy to work with, and like, do our personalities actually vibe? So that's something I wish someone had told me early on, though. Like, be picky with your clients and don't just, take everyone. Another thing I wish someone had told me about clients is like, be careful about working with friends too. I've had a lot of friends that work in the industry out here who've, needed a lawyer and called me, but hey, can you just look at it for free real quick? And it just gets tricky with work and friendship.
And
so.
I don't have the time.
Right.
At all. Absolutely. So listen, people, if you're tuning in, you listen to the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. I'm your host, Ron G. And in the building, we have my man, Greg Johnson, and the lovely, talented, amazing Jaia Thomas, everybody. And right now, we're actually talking about their journey, how Greg became a manager, how Jaia became a lawyer. Question, man. So the tough part about LA is people back home don't really get LA. You know what I'm saying? Greg, you might not know this, but most times,
the rest of us.
south of Wilshire, people don't get the layers that come along with living in LA, because you have this invisible smoke screen weed that everybody's smoking that makes them one of the most self-centered people in the planet, which you like back home, you would never act like this. Who are you right now? Then you have this layer of, as you can see in the media, all this unspoken, I don't want to say sexual assault, but like just all this underhanded the dark side of Hollywood. Right. And then you have this layer of unspoken racism. Like, it's there. Like, I feel like one of the hardest things is being a black woman in Hollywood. Like, I'm not a black woman, but I had a lot of my friends complain about how hard it is to get an audition and stuff they have to do with their hair just to be accepted. And, hey, we cool, we like your hair, but can you change your hair to this? And can you be more urban? Like that kind of stuff. How do you manage through all those layers and still keep your head on right? Because I've actually had a moment where I used to travel. I used to do a bunch of colleges. I made the most money I've ever made my entire life. I did 100 colleges in 1 year, one college coming of the year. But I had a meltdown in the hotel room because I couldn't remember what day it was. I didn't remember what city I was in. I didn't remember what color my rental car was. And I had all the money I've ever wanted, bought a home and everything. And I'm like, I have all this money, but something was missing. Like something was like, I feel like God was like, yo, if you had this same problem and you were the comedian you thought you would be, how would you medicate and fill this hole? Like, how do y'all manage to like navigate through all these layers of stuff and still keep a smile on your face? Is that too heavy?
That's heavy.
Again, I don't small talk, but again, LA is no joke, but people have no idea. And you just have to learn how to deal with it. Like, how do you learn how to navigate through all that stuff and still be yourself and not wind up bitter or condescending because of, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you make it through it and still keep a smile on your face?
Yeah, it's tough. I think it's all about who you surround yourself with. You know what I mean? So I just have a really good circle out here who I can bounce stuff off of, who I can vent to. I vent a lot. I complain a lot about, just being a black woman in this industry. I complain, a lot about that. I'm constantly the only black woman in a lot of rooms, in a lot of meetings, and it's frustrating. So just, I think having a good circle helps tremendously, but it's tough, let me tell you.
That's so cool, and I'm glad you said that, because
it's tough.
I see it in your eyes. Like, I can only imagine. Like, I used to be an accountant, so in all my classes, I was the only black person, and I feel like I had to work twice as hard not to look stupid. And even when I looked stupid, I didn't feel comfortable asking questions because I didn't want to be, the black guy. Clearly, he can't keep up. This dude, public school, we see it. You know what I'm saying? Like
affirmative action.
Yeah, here we go. All right, I'm glad you made it. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Come on, Leroy. Like, it's Ron. All right, Leroy. Thanks. How do you navigate through all that, man?
That's a hard one. For me, it was more recognizing that there's not one pie we're fighting over. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just have to bake a new pie. And a lot of the clients I work with, they are creators in the sense that, like, they put their stuff up on their own platforms. They, write their own jokes and they go perform them when they want to. They create spaces that they want to be in, which allows them to avoid a lot of the BS. And then when other people see it and see that it's working already, like, you don't have that same barrier of entry of like, oh, I don't know if you can still do this when you just saw them pack out a room or have 100,000 followers, watch something they put up. So a lot of it was just recognizing that, like, everybody's not gonna like you. And if you, it's actually something I heard Will Packer said, how, he had this movie he was putting out early on in the game, and he had all these seats reserved for all these VIPs that he didn't know, but thought they were going to show up. And he recognized that he had standing room only because everybody in his community and around him showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that idea that if you build it, they will come. And sometimes you have to do that until someone else recognizes it.
Yeah.
And then you're able to avoid, the politics of the game in a different way.
Oh man, that's cool. And so it's so funny too, living in this time of the Colt 45 Trump administration. There's a time where stuff that would never get said out loud is being said out loud, especially with the platform of social media. Year one of Colt 45, there's a moment of you always respect the president. You don't talk like that about the president. If you do, it's blasphemy. You don't love your country. Nah. Now, year 2, because people is caught up with what's happening, people are more vocal about it. You two being managers and a lawyer, that a lot of times you have to represent a higher purpose, meaning like you work for certain companies. Are you allowed to speak on social issues? Being like, how do you navigate through speaking on social issues and maintaining your position and keeping your client base? Because again, based on whoever you represent, they'll be like, well, I'm a supporter and he's doing his part. Like, how do you navigate through that and like still keep your voice and not drown yourself in political correctness?
Yeah,
if that makes sense at all.
No, it does. Great question. Luckily for me, I haven't really had that issue because when it comes to my work, let's just talk about the contract. Let's just talk about the deal. You know what I mean?
Even on social media, when you post something like how you could you post?
I watch what I post.
Guess who's being a dick today? You know what I'm saying?
Here's my thing about Trump. I'm going to veer off for a second, so bear with me.
We got time.
Get the buttons ready.
We got time.
So here's my thing.
Let him use you.
And you'll never see me really posting about Trump or the administration because I just feel like a lot of that is wasted energy.
Yeah.
We know he's a clown. We know he's a fool. I'm not going to spend half my day arguing about it, tweeting about it, Instagramming about it. We know what it is. That energy I could take complaining about Trump could be energy I could take helping my people in other ways. And so that's how I use my energy.
Yeah.
He's here. We have to deal with it. And instead of arguing with racist folks and people who voted for him, us arguing with them isn't going to change their mind. You know what I mean? So that energy I just take and use it to do other things to make life better for my people, So for me, it's a matter of how do you want to use your energy? You only have so many hours in the day. You only have so much energy. And I'm not exerting any energy towards him, towards his administration, towards people who voted for him. They're just better uses of my energy. So you just don't see me on social media posting about that. Instead, I'm posting about opportunities for Black folks. I'm posting about opportunities for brown folks. That's how I use my energy.
Jaia Thomas 2020, everybody. Hey. Jaia Thomas 2010.
Sorry, I know we veered a little.
No,
left,
you didn't veer.
but-
You right where you need to be. This is why we have this show, the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast, man. We don't small talk here. What about you, bro?
I'm about the action. So, rather than get online and talk about it and argue with people about it, like I actually go to the community. When people go in the neighborhood and they see me and recognize me, like that's where my action is.
Yeah.
When I do career days, you talked about career days earlier, like
Love career.
I got, scholarship foundations I've gotten scholarships from when I was 18 that I still go back to and participate in and run their alumni. Like I go and I'm in the neighborhoods, in these organizations, helping kids and showing them like, look, this is a way you can change the world. And the guy who is currently in the seat, supposed to do it, is just pretty terrible at it. So, you can spend energy doing that, or you can spend energy like helping the next generation out. So I just do it that way.
And I'm the exact same way, man. I feel like it's important to, instead of complain, like do something about it. Like you complain about all the stuff you don't like and all this racism, do something for your people to where you don't have to depend on people for other stuff, And that's very important to me. So if you're listening right now, it's the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. In the studio today, we got the amazing Jaia Thomas and my man Greg Johnson, and we're talking about the journey of them being lawyers and navigating, lawyers and managers and navigating through Hollywood, man. Is there anything or any advice you want to give somebody who wants to do what you do? Jaia, you being a lawyer, and Greg, you being a manager. Like, is there any advice somebody who wants to be a manager? Because I know both of y'all came from law backgrounds, but you specifically, I feel like most lawyers wind up becoming most good managers wind up coming from a law background. Even my manager, now shout out to Larry Shapiro, was a lawyer and now he's a manager.
Part of it is understanding the back end of it. The contracts, what actually like goes into all the stuff that you never get to see. When somebody's in front of the camera, there's like weeks and weeks and months of emails and contact to make sure things happen. So, intern with somebody. I've had adult interns who, have had full careers doing other stuff who sat down with me and got to see what I do every day. and was like, oh, I like it or I hate it. So part of it is having to get into it to see it.
Yeah.
It's in a lot of ways like college. You know, you come out with a major like, oh, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life, and you get that first job and you're like, wait, this is what y'all do every day? So it was, you know, definitely find somebody who's doing something similar. You know, don't ask to pick their brain unless you want to pay that fee. Yeah. But like, you know, if you really want to feed them, like they're happy to get food with you. They're happy to get a drink with you, but like build it around their schedule. Meet them where they're at. If they're on a panel somewhere, stop by and see if you can get 5 minutes with them.
Yeah.
It's one of those things to where you got to put the effort in.
What kind of coffee you like?
Right? And I don't even drink coffee, but like knowing stuff like that helps. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh, can we meet at Starbucks? Sure. I just want a juice. And they're like, wait, what? But part of it is, you know, do some research. Yeah. Find out what the job is, talk to those people, and they hopefully will give you real advice because it's not a fun or glamorous job at all.
Absolutely.
But it's needed.
And I echo everything Greg said. And the other thing I would say is if you are interested in being an entertainment lawyer, I would say find like a niche. I meet a lot of people who say, I want to do entertainment law, but that can be anything. That can be music, fashion, television, film. You know, there's so many different aspects of the entertainment industry that I think it's important to find a niche that you really want to become an expert in, because it's hard to be an expert in 80 different areas of the entertainment industry. So, you know, I always recommend find 2 or 3 areas you're really interested in and kind of become, you know, an expert on that, read up on it, know what's going on in those 3 areas, and kind of focus on that.
That's awesome. And personally, I would tell you as well, if you want to do something, instead of complaining about the job you do have, take that time instead of going to the club and being cool and research it and invest in yourself and really do research on what you think you want to do. And like Jaia and Greg said, get into the space of the people that's actually doing what you want to do. And especially if you're in college or in high school, like people that's in their field would love to help you out, especially before you graduate, because for some reason, I don't know, I feel like anybody who's decent, who come from the hood or has a heart, will want to help out somebody young that's trying to figure that thing out. You know what I'm saying? And also, this is my advice as a comedian. Always have something in your hand when you want to talk to somebody, whether it be something you did a long time ago or a peace offering. Like example, I hosted the Laugh Factory on Sunday. So if there's anybody I want to talk to or meet, hey man, I hosted the Laugh Factory on Sunday. If you ever get a chance, man, bring your wife. I'll take care of you. And you know, you come hang out and have a good time. Meaning, I have something to offer them when I talk to them as a conversational piece, and I have something in my hand versus like, hey, hook me up, put me on, show me something. Because that's been a consumer. LA and most places are always full of consumers. But what can you offer the person that you're trying to do business with or learn from and grow from? And it's hard to really learn from somebody you don't respect or you're not serving. Right. And I feel like being a servant is the best way to learn from somebody you respect. And it costs you a little bit of pride and ego, but you'll get what you need. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, this has been another amazing episode of the Comedy Podcast. First of all, I want to thank Miss Thomas for stopping through, and my man Greg. We appreciate you being here. Now, this is the portion of the show before we get out of here where, again, I don't like the small talk. So I have a few questions that I want to ask you guys, and you can answer in any way, any order. Yeah, you better get ready. All right, Greg. And you can answer it in any kind of way. There's no right or wrong answer.
You're and first in all of these.
Yeah, you go first.
So how about we alternate? Greg, you go first, and then after that. All right, so if you can do coffee with one person dead or alive, who would it be and why?
My grandmother, Dorothy, she passed when I was 2, and I've heard the stories about how great she was, an amazing woman in the neighborhood and community, but never got to experience it myself.
Yeah?
Yep.
So you do juice with Granny because you don't do coffee, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yep. I feel like she'd be really proud of you too, man.
I believe she would.
I think she would be, man. It's really dope, man. She's like,
don't have me crying up
and clean your glasses, young man. You all on the podcast, the people can see you like Grandma's podcast. Clean them glasses on the podcast because I see fingerprints while you're trying to talk to people. Anyway, I'm sorry. Jaia, what about you?
My answer is similar. I would do a hot tea.
Yeah.
With my grandfather. My mom's dad, he passed away when she was young.
Yeah.
And so I never met him, but I've heard amazing things about him. And so I would love to sit down and have tea with him.
Man, that's so cool. Let me tell you something. Grandparents are awesome. I lost mine at a very young age too, but just if I could be who I am now and talk to my granny, man, like I'll be so happy just to, because you kind of see where your parents get it from. You're like, oh, okay, I thought you was mean. You just, you're not mean.
You are your mom.
Well, you are mean, but I get it.
Where you get it from.
Yeah, I see where you get it from. That's so cool, man. Next question. This is for you. This is gonna be scary. It's a very scary question. What's one thing you learned about yourself from your last relationship?
Oh gosh.
Don't do that. Fix your face. Ooh. Fix your face. One thing you learned about yourself, not the person.
Jeez. And I totally try not to talk about like relationship stuff.
But it's about you, though.
True. Okay. One thing I learned about myself. One thing I learned about myself that I actually need, that I'm working on, and that I realized I do need to work on, is I can be very, so you have me like on the spot. I'm like so nervous about this.
We can edit it. You got time.
I can be very reactionary about things. And so that's...
A lawyer? Reactionary?
Imagine
You know
that.
what? I knew it. I knew it. I knew it was something. There's no way you can be perfect. See? I knew it. Paul, we over. Wrap up the show. I'm good. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
I can be very reactionary. And so that's something I learned a lot about during my last relationship that I'm working on.
What does that mean, reactionary?
Like, it can just take one thing and I'm just...
Meaning you don't have a middle?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Are you serious? You don't have a middle? I feel like lawyers will always have a middle. You have to get the facts before you making it. Isn't that like you?
Sometimes I don't get the facts even.
So you just go from the feeling and just go.
I can.
Let me find out you hood. You a little hood? Is that what it is? You go from 0 to 1,000 real quick? You got some nerve trying to surprise me. Like, I was actually planning your birthday party, right? Well, you didn't call me all day long, and I need to know. Next time if you gonna surprise me, you tell me, okay? Don't play with me. Don't piss me off. I'm not dealing with this hodgepodge of BS today. You hear me?
For my people.
Yeah.
Right.
No
yeah.
hodgepodge today. You got some nerve, young man. Okay, all good. Reactionary. Okay, cool. What about you, G?
Mine is the exact opposite. I am too even keeled.
I feel like you don't care.
I don't have, they feel like you don't care because your emotions don't really go too high or too low.
You ain't never choked nobody before.
Nah, not even close.
They don't believe you care about them until you choke them, G. You all cool. Like, he don't care about me. You gonna let me wear this outside?
You just don't have any emotions. Like, I told you I felt like that's how I felt.
Over there making all that sense.
What you want me to say?
You got some nerve, Greg, not responding to my actions and me getting loud with you in public. You don't care about me.
It's like, my bad.
You got some nerve, Gregory. You got some nerve, Gregory Ignatius Johnson. Some nerve. That's so dope, man. That's cool, man.
Oh,
That means you're emotionally intelligent, which is pretty cool.
I tried it. You know, they hate it though.
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause
they used to hate it.
they
I've
do
been with my
hate
wife a minute now.
They do hate it.
she gets
You don't
it.
care?
She gets it. She don't like it, but
Yeah, because somebody told me the distance between somebody offending you and the "I wish a nigga would" moment determines your emotional intelligence. And apparently, somebody at this table doesn't have a lot of distance between they
Wow.
offense and "I wish a nigga would" moment. Did we say nigga twice on the Comedy Pop-Up podcast? Can we press the button, please? Oh Jesus, that was a milestone. We hit 2 niggas and no, that ain't it. No, that's not it. It's only that when white people say it. Listen, we'll do that. All right, small theater crowd that immediately stops clapping when you press the button. All right, cool. So listen, next question, man. What smell or sound reminds you of home? What smell or sound reminds you of home?
These are really good questions.
Mine is crispy bacon and pine sol.
Ooh.
Something about a little crispy bacon. Remind me of my mama's house.
garlic. We like seafood in the house. So,
Okay, all right.
You know,
I'm sorry.
scampi and stuff. So like that was our special meal. Like if something good was going
I
on.
love the way hood chicks say scampi. They be like scrimp scampi. We had some scrimp scampis. I'm sorry. This is random. Has nothing to do with
It
that.
was garlic. You know, when you know that garlic was in the smell, you were like, oh, somebody did something good. Cause we
Yeah?
had to get some shrimp and some garlic and
Yeah?
a little scampi popping.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Y'all from like the New Orleans or something?
Nah, mom's is born and raised in LA. Grandfather and grandmother were Midwest. So my actually grandfather went to Ohio State.
Yeah.
OSU.
Yeah,
Have
so
you gonna put your hands down? There you go. Thank you, Paul.
Why are you guys such haters?
Ain't nobody hating.
Dang, because no one else is from a state like mine.
I'm from California.
Sidebar, I don't know if you noticed or not, but when LeBron James left Cleveland, 40% of the economy left too.
And
I think he's about to leave soon because I just heard.
He's definitely not.
I just heard the owners
gone.
considering selling
He's not.
the team, which makes a lot of sense. Because once he's gone, because y'all didn't treat him right the first time.
Ooh.
I mean,
He's not leaving. Trust me. Trust me.
why would I trust you? You haven't given me any facts yet.
Right?
You're being very reactionary right now.
Have you talked to
and I
Maverick?
don't like it. Yeah.
Just trust
You're being
me.
very reactionary and we don't like it.
Have you talked to Rich?
She hasn't. All right. Smell or sound reminds you of home?
I would say smell.
Bitterness? I'm just playing. With your resentment? I'm just playing. You got something there. Trying to surprise me and not tell me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And not text me back within 2 minutes. I would say actually the smell of, because every time I'm home, I like make my mom cook these.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite food. The smell of collard greens.
Yeah?
And she makes the best.
And what is it again?
Collard greens.
You at the D? Oh, you
I
uppity.
do.
Oh,
I do use
she
the
is
D.
uppity.
I thought I was the only one that heard it.
Right.
I looked at it like, wait a minute.
Collard greens.
I do use the D.
Collard.
Wait,
You probably said
I don't
chitterlings,
even
too.
like saying that. I use the D.
Chitterlings.
I pronounce the entire word.
You don't like that D. Ain't nothing wrong with the
Pronounce
D.
the entire
That's
word.
so funny. So collard greens. Now, just curious because I don't know how you was raised, but
Ooh.
turkey necks or fatback
hocks.
or hawks? What you?
Ham hocks. Growing up.
What?
Growing up.
Are you
I don't
serious?
I don't
You?
eat beef and pork anymore though.
Of course you don't. You're in
Since
LA.
I-
You're a lawyer. Clearly you're vegan. All right, on Tuesdays.
The past 2 years, past year and a half, I gave up.
I bet you that boo will come out looking like soft serve too. but go ahead.
But growing up,
Go
she
ahead.
always used ham hocks.
All right, cool. I don't have to look. My dad would curse me out. Like, you too good for the hog. The hog got you to Hollywood, and now you gay now? You don't like pork? Huh? You gay? Huh? I can like them crackers now. You don't like no pork? Like, Dad, relax. I just don't want to eat pork because I think it's bad. Oh, really? You trying to be like them crackers now?
Oh. Yeah,
Sound
my
like
dad
that
looks at me crazy now that I don't eat pork.
Hilarious. Okay, cool, man. That's awesome. Learned a lot about you today. So last question, man. What advice would you want to give someone who wants to be a manager or a lawyer?
Your turn, Greg.
I went first the last time.
No,
Yeah, Carla.
Oh,
was
children. Let's make a decision. You guys make decisions for other people. Can we do it now?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
What advice would you give somebody who wants to be a lawyer?
I would say go to law school,
Mhm.
study hard, get good grades, hustle,
Hmm?
build your network, and go for it.
Oh, you're so dumb, man. Read, work hard, trust God.
The end.
There you go. Jaia 2020. What can Thomas do for you? There you go. That's awesome.
By the way, I ran for class president in high school, so I could.
Did you win?
I did. All
Nice.
3 years. My slogan, if you want to move higher, vote for Jaia.
Wow.
I believe it too. Did you
Wow.
raise your hands like that too when you did
I
it?
think I did.
Oh my God.
See,
it worked.
Oh, my
I
God.
ran in law school for president and won for 2 years. 2 to 3
Okay.
years at Howard.
Yeah?
They didn't like the LA boy running it though. So I hear.
Well, I tried to be the secretary for the Crips. And, they
Did
told
you
me I
have a
was light
slogan
skinned.
for it, or you just?
Nah, they was
okay.
like, I ain't hard enough. I was like, cool. All right, cool. I was like, all right, cool. What about you, G?
Representation means it's not about you. So, no matter what your background is, for a manager, you don't have to go to law school. You don't have to go to college for that matter. But whatever it is, you have to do your research, do your homework, network with some good people who have your best interest in heart, and recognize that it's not about you, it's about the client.
Man, that is so awesome. That being said, man, we're wrapping up another episode of the Comedy Podcast. So if you can, Greg, tell the people how can they get to know you, or if somebody wants to send you an email and maybe have you represent them and give you their mixtape.
Yeah, my website, which is updated and should be live in the next day. The old one is live right now, is the number 5. So 5 Streams LLC. That's the number 5 STREAMS LLC.com. And my email address is just greg at 5streamsllc.com. Social media, I'm 5 Streams.
Dope.
That's it.
And Ms. Thomas, you got something for us?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and social media just using my name.
Why you sound like you're in a bubble bath right now? You using that voice on purpose? Is that what it is? How to make you feel all vulnerable because you done exposed your junk and now you try to be all sweet? Whatever. We know you're a firecracker and you're a thug. Get out of here.
I'm a little fiery. On Instagram, Twitter, social media, it's my first and last name, Jaia, Jaia, Thomas, Thomas. And my website is jathomaslaw.com.
That is so awesome. And is there anything you want to tell the people and your constituents that are potentially voting for you in 2020?
Thank you for tuning in, and I want to thank you personally for having me today. It was fun.
Man, I appreciate you,
And
man.
Yeah,
That's
this
so
was
great. I
fun.
can't believe you made time for us, man.
Yes, I haven't
feel
seen
like
you in forever. So
I know, but I feel like you over there saving lives and like doing copyrights and patents and stuff like that. And you don't have time for us, but I'm very grateful you made time for us. And then you got your hair done for us.
stays done.
I feel like you laid down, she did your hair. Like, look, girl, I got a big podcast to do in the morning. Do my hair when I wake up. It needs to be
Get
amazing.
these bangs.
Get these bangs and these scrangs. No hangers. So listen, man, it's been a great episode of Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. I'm your host, Ron G. If you don't mind, please follow me, Comedian Ron G, on everything. Comedian RONG on everything. And also, you can follow us at the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. And if you're into comedy, you can also follow us at the Comedy...
At CPU Podcast.
At CPU Podcast. Is that two different things?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So follow us at CPU Podcast to find out about the comedy shows.
No, about the comedy show, comedypopup.la.com.
Okay. And also follow Comedy Pop-Up LA to find out about comedy pop-up shows in your area. And if you're in LA, every Sunday I host at the world famous Laugh Factory Chocolate Sunday. So follow me, Comedian RONG. And yeah, we don't small talk, man. Thank y'all for joining us. Yeah.
Thank you.